Hi, my name is Jacob, and this is my podcast. Today we'll be talking about uniforms, and today I'm joined by
Ashley.
and
Mark?
so Ashley is against uniforms, and Mark is in favor of uniforms. So throughout this podcast, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about the history of uniforms and some pros and cons, and I hope they can agree on some of the reasoning and maybe they can disagree in others. So I first want to know, why are you against uniforms, Ashley?
Right. I guess the primary reason is because it limits so much expression against the students. Because when you go into a school premise that implements uniform policy, you notice how everybody looks like a carbon copy of each other. So there's a lack of individuality within, the students. I don't think that's really good.
Yeah, they don't grow as a person. That's good. So what about you, Mark? Why are you in favor?
Well, I think uniforms help make the school a lot more professional. You have students walking around and they're not really paying attention to like kind of any outside forces, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're a lot more academic in their learning.
Yeah, they focus. Yeah, less distractions. So now I'm gonna talk a little bit the origins. So uniforms first were introduced in England in a way to help poor people. Rich people would donate those uniforms to poor schools so kids could wear better clothes when they had to go outside. And eventually that idea spread among Europe, and eventually it came to America, to North America, Latin America. And now I want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons. Maybe participants can agree in some of them or they can disagree. So the first one that I believe is really changing factor is that school uniforms may deter crime and increase student safety. This is because basically the police can identify where those students are from and they can track them down per se. So what do you guys think about this, Ashley?
I mean, it is a good point to track them down, because, maybe somebody's like trying to run away for something. That's all I can think of. But like, at the same time, I feel like the point where you talked about how in England they would give uniforms to the poor children.
Yeah.
That's really generous, but at the same time, that was a long time ago, Like, a lot of things change over time, so from, like, in this situation in particular, there should be, like, a change of tradition, and in this case scenario, it's, like, uniform,
Yeah. How about you, Mark?
I agree with like the whole police thing, but I kind of disagree with Ashley on the whole donating the uniform clothes, because although we are in a different situation, still, like, not all kids are going to be able to afford the much more expensive clothes that we see nowadays.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Usually uniforms really aren't that expensive and you wear them, all the time. So
Everyone's equal, yes. So another now a con that I believe is very interesting. It says that like Ashley said at the beginning, it restricts students' freedom of expression, and she already gave her opinion on this. So I want to know Mark's opinion on this.
I mean, the whole freedom of expression thing is, it's all right, but it's not like any of these students are really kind of going out their way to be truly unique. It's not like, all these clothes are extremely different from one another, I guess.
Yeah.
And when you bring that into the equation, it kind of changes the mindset of the students to make them think this is more like I'm kind of just chilling here rather than I'm here to learn with a uniform.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think these are just some of the ideas. I wish we would have had some more time to discuss more about the topic because it's very extensive, and sometimes we can agree, sometimes we can disagree. But I hope you enjoyed. You learned a little bit about the story of uniforms, and thank you for tuning.